Okay, did you get the files I just sent? Because I sent some this morning, and then, well, yesterday actually, and then I sent more a couple hours ago. I've been having a lot of requests for reading, the importance of reading. Now I'm sure that you know how to read pretty well, but we're not talking about the G. We're talking about the percussion clef, and we're not talking about the G clef. It's all rhythmic, mathematical, and eventually musical. Alright, well this is going to be recorded. I'm going to upload this to YouTube, okay? No, we didn't do it. It was canceled. Jason Johnny had something else come up that was very important. We rescheduled it for the 6th of December. It's a Sunday at 3 p.m. So that will be very interesting for everybody. But anyway, a lot of requests for reading. It's extremely important to know how to read. I mean, you don't have to have a strong background to go play a Broadway show or sit in with a chart with a big band. But the objective of learning how to read the rhythms is all the mythology books that are out there. You know, you're letting them pass by if you do not know how to read. So, I'm early, as usual. I'm going to wait for the room to populate before I do start a lesson. Do you have any questions, Stacy, on the dot? Okay, well, it's all mathematical, Stacy. You know, the triplet and the dot and the syncopation. You know, we haven't really gotten into 16th note triplets and dotted 16ths. The furthest I've gone so far with the students is the dotted 8th note. As long as you remember what a dot does to a note, you'll be okay, and you figure it out mathematically. If you're in 4/4 and you say you have a quarter note, 2 eighth notes, and another quarter note, well, that equals 8 eighth notes, which equals the reduced equals 4/4. The dot is not difficult whatsoever, and the dot gives you that syncopated feel or the extended feel. We're not talking about like a tie or a slur. We're talking about extending the note value. You have to understand what, it adds half the value, absolutely. If you have a quarter note, that equals 2 eighth notes. You have a dotted quarter note, that equals, how many eighth notes, Stacy? What I'm going to be doing, and you might be interested in this, I'm going to be doing twice a week a Zoom lesson, a master class on Facebook. And, well, whoever I invite, actually. I'm new to Zoom. It's pretty easy to operate. And I'm going to have maybe, yeah, you're right, 3 eighth notes. I'm going to have maybe a minimum of 5 students, maximum of 15. And we're going to go over some reading. And then maybe once in a while I'll go into the stick control book, or the All-American Drummer, or the Rudimental Swing, or the Shafee book. But I'm going to have a master class, 5 to 15 students per class, in addition to me streaming here on Facebook and YouTube and my site. So it's a lot of streaming programs. Would you be interested in that? There's a cost of $5 a lesson. If you're interested in that, the date and time hasn't been set yet. I just put it out there to see who may be interested. And if I get enough students, I will do it constantly. Would you be interested in that, Stacy? Absolutely. I mean, you know, I'm not a thief. I'm not going to charge $15, $20. I could. But why? Give everybody a break. Do some networking. I put 2 books are going to, well, as of the first of the year, if you go to Hudson Music, you're going to find 3 of my books in digital formation. That's the stick control book formulas, the Joe Morello's Master Studies breakdown, and the syncopation formulas. So, you know, it's moving around and it's being exposed, which I really would like. Okay, so you said you have to leave by 7. You have the sheet, right? Which line would give you the most problem, and I'll work on it with you. If you see my methodology on the sheet, if you go to line 1, okay? If you go to line 1 on the sheet, you'll see a 2-measure increment on the first each line. The left-hand side is a sticking pattern, which, hey, stick control book is following you around all over the place. So, for example, if I took that first sticking pattern and went 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I eliminated all the lefts, that would be my figure on the right-hand side of the page. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Simple. You see that, Stacy? 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Again, I take it from the sticking. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's extremely difficult to teach anything online, only because of the fact the audience that you're drawing is at different levels. You have somebody who's been playing a year, somebody's been playing 5 years, somebody's been playing 10 or 30 years. So, isn't that a simple method there, Stacy? It's foolproof. Now remember, this is going to be filmed, so after the lesson, I have a separate camera that I'm filming this on, and it will be, hey Bob, how you doing? It will be on YouTube as soon as it processes, okay? Bob, did you get the new files? Pretty simple. Foolproof. Oh, anyway, I forgot to say, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Great thing about Facebook, okay? You could be teaching somebody from Brazil, Quebec, Spain, Portugal, Florida, or Minnesota. Yeah, well, I'm trying. Hello, Adam. How are you? I'm trying to get the path of the video and the audio in the same path. Adam, how you doing? Did you get the sheets, Adam? I made the announcement that I'm going to, not until maybe the first of the year, but I will be doing 2 or 3 or 4 lessons on Zoom, a master class on either reading, the stick control book, the hand development. You know, I really love all these other statements that come out there. Sign up, give me $150 and I'll show you in 10 days how to get faster hands. Okay, that's cool, but you don't get faster hands in 10 days. And besides, speed, you know, guys post things on the groups that I have. Oh, I could do that at 350. So they make themselves a video at 350. Then I say, very good, hard work. Now try to do it at 50. They fall down. They lack the control. Adam, how long have you been playing? Where are you from? And the guys who are watching, please get into the comment section so we could talk about reading. Now, I didn't send, you guys don't look very familiar that are on the comments there, or who like this. But anyway, what you need to do, if you want the files, and you want to review this video, it's going to be uploaded to YouTube. It's doing a different camera. Okay? If you want the files on it, it's 4 pages. You have to email me. From Virginia, all right. Okay, so my email, Stacy, would you put that in there for me, please, young lady? Stacy's a good person, man. She's always willing to help. Oh, we got everybody from Virginia. So Stacy, just put my email in there, and if you guys don't have the files, and you would like them, thank you, Stacy. Email me after the lesson, and I'll add you to the mailing list, and I'll send you the files. Okay, for those who have the files, like I said, I've been getting a lot of requests in my email about reading. And I'm going to say it again and again. Reading is essential. I mean, you know, you don't have to learn how to read a big band chart, just to get a basic understanding of rhythm. So if you buy something like The New Breed or the Gary Shafee's Pattern Series, or whatever book that you might buy, all that great methodology out there you're missing out on because you don't understand the formation of the rhythm. So that's the purpose of learning how to read rhythm. And if you're a good mathematician, you'll have no problems. And a metronome is essential. All right, we got a few more minutes, and let's just wait. Okay, let me just have another sip of coffee. Adam, you've been playing that long. You know how to read well, or you just need some review or revisiting? Stacy, you're very welcome. Thank you for your help. Okay, Adam. Give me a little background on yourself. You say you've been playing 30-something years. How is your reading? I mean, you know, basic reading is what we're teaching. I sent out the files, so Bob, you have it. And Stacy has it, but now there's going to be only 3 people here. So I'll just wait a few more minutes. All right, good. So your reading would be more advanced, like say the Charlie Wilcox 150 rudimental solos. You understand the level system? A lot of people get all torn up when they see a dot. A dot, what is it? It's a period. It doesn't do anything. I mean, it adds to the value of a note. So let's start there, okay? A dot placed, first note, excuse me. Let's start with a time signature. And we're going to work with 4/4. That's a time signature. And what does that mean? Well, it means there are 4 beats to a measure, and each quarter note receives a count or a beat. So if I count 4 quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, I just played one measure of 4 quarter notes in 4/4 time. Now I can play any combination that I would like, a dotted 8th note, a dotted 16th note, a dotted 8th note, a whole note, half note, so on and so forth. As long as the measure, if you add up all the notes, totally comes down, if you reduce the fraction, will equal 4/4. Okay? Then you're on your way. Well, the level system, it's called the level system, but it's also known as controlled strokes, meaning that I control the stroke. Okay? Well, good you responded to that. We have, first off, the sticking heights. The sticking heights is going to give you the sound, whether it's going to be forte, mezzo forte, or piano on the drum. How you doing, Paul? So if I hit the drum from this point, look at the distance of my stick, it's pretty high. So when I make impact on the drum, I'm going to get a very loud sound. That's called a full stroke, or a free stroke. That's part of the level system, or controlled strokes. And I control that. I throw the stick down, and I stop it at the starting point again. And that's used for accents or volume, loud. Now my next stroke would be a downstroke. Notice that the downstroke and the free stroke or full stroke sound the same again. My downstroke now, I'm in position to play lighter. So my next stroke would be a tap. Now to get back into position to hit a full stroke, I need an upstroke, which would be that. So I have free stroke or full stroke, downstroke, a tap. Now the tap and the upstroke sound the same. And if you want to put it into some sort of demonstration of a paradiddle, right, left, 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 what you have the first note of the paradiddle accented. So I have 2 different sounds inside of the single paradiddle, right-hand paradiddle or left-hand paradiddle. However, I have 3 different motions. I'm going to play a downstroke, but look at my hands. They're equal distant to the drum. Now, that's the right-hand accent. Let me do that again. Right-hand accent. Now, I have to get in position to nail an up-and-coming left-hand accent, so it's an upstroke. And then I have a tap, tap, which completed a right-hand paradiddle. Down, up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap, down, up. No tension. I'm letting the sound happen. Let me give you a very good exercise to develop that. It's very simple. And I reference off the stick control book, page 5. If you look at page 5, line number 1, what you have is 1 and 2, 3 and 4. But notice when I stroke that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right, left, my right hand and my left hand sounded the same. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reference off that line, but I'm going to eliminate all the lefts. That's going to give me the rights. 3 and 4 and. So what I'm going to do now is play 8th notes, constant, say with the left hand. 1 sound. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm going to reference off the line. So I look at all the rights are going to be accents, and underneath is the 8th note. Watch. Down, up, down, up, down, up. No tension. All coming from the wrist. Do the same thing with the left. The same interpretation. Excuse me. But this time we're going to strengthen the left hand. 1. At the second line, the right shifts over to the ands. So I'm playing this underneath. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Same thing with the left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now you have an option here. You can play each line separately, or go from line 1 to line 2. Now line 3 you might get a little confused because now you have 2 rights and 2 lefts. So I'm referencing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if I'm playing eighth notes, I'm an accent 1 and 3 and. So something different happens here. I have a first stroke, down, tap, up. First stroke, down, tap, up. That's in my stick control formula book. It's a great exercise. And that's the level system or control stroke. Another one is the Joe Morello book, Master Studies. That's the first one. Or if I'm playing 16th notes, alternating the strokes, all right? And I want to accent 1, 2, 3, 4. What you got is this. I do it slow motion. It's down, tap, up. Hey Adam, is that clear? Does that clarify it, sort of? You need a whole kind of hour segment on that one. I'm just briefly going through it. But that's to obtain the accents. By triplets. Stone Killer. No accent on the first note. Now. The level system is always there. It's a natural approach, a natural way to play. I keep using this example. You're a drum teacher and you have a student who's, say, 12, 15 years old, and he admires you and he wants to play like you, which is good at first, but then you have to establish and put him in the direction of him establishing his own voice. So if you say to him, play single strokes like this, he naturally would go like this. And you say, hit one harder, he naturally would go like this. That's called control strokes or the level system. My friend Jeffrey Johnson, who, as a matter of fact, Stacy does take some lessons from him on Zoom. The only reason why on Zoom is because after the virus thing goes away, she's in Virginia and so is Jeffrey Johnson, and she would like to study with him as well. Okay, let's get to the reading. You obviously, do you have, by any chance, Adam, do you have the sheets? I don't know if you're on my mailing list or not. Are you on my mailing list? I know Paul has the new sheets, I hope. And so does Bob and Stacy. But Stacy's gone now. Do you have the sheets, Adam? I'm not sure. You're on my, well, if you are, then you got it. Now, to me, when I first started to take lessons, the first 2 books I had was the Buddy Rich snare drum technique and Haskell R. Huh. Okay. And it did teach me somewhat how to read. And then once I finished them, from the beginning to the end, the teacher would shut the book and go to another book, which to me was pretty shallow. Okay? And I was all confused about the dot and the rest and the tie and all that good stuff. And I found this to be very effective, right, in teaching. If you have the sheet and you look at number 1, okay, on the left hand, line number 1 on the left-hand side, you'll see eighth notes with a sticking pattern. Now, that's not a sticking pattern I got from any place like Stick Control book. I got that from reading. If I played the line 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it's a sticking pattern. So if you're uncertain of, say, the dot with a value, all you need to do is look at that first measure and eliminate the lefts. Now you want to do it slow, you want to count 1 and 2 and eliminating lefts, 4 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So if you're uncertain about the figure, it's right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the reason why I'm putting things like this together is I want to go into the new breed. And a lot of the students, they can read, but they need to really strengthen their reading skills. And this is one way to do it. But the way I just presented that was a foolproof way. You're not, how you doing, Hoist? You're not going to become confused if you follow directions and you say, okay, I want to play the second measure, but how do I do that? Well, you go to the first line of first measure and count it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and eliminate the lefts and you get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. No problem. That's the figure. Okay, now I go to line number 2. We all understand that so far? Hoist, Paul. It's a foolproof way of reading. You know, you open up the syncopation book, he has a 4-measure increment that repeats itself, which is good. It's a good method. But the students get all confused. And we take something like this, and we have fun with it. For example, all right, we're referencing off 8th note. Let me go back to line 1. What's wrong, Bob? You said no. No to, I'm there's such a delay when I ask a question and I get into something and you get no. I'm sorry. What, you don't understand something? Okay. I'm going to do line 1 again. I'm going to do the first measure with the sticking nice and slow. And I'm going to do full strokes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the sticking pattern that I presented. Now if I take that sticking pattern and say, all right, we're going to get into the dot in a second. Okay? You look at the right hand side of that, and I'm still counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but this time I'm eliminating the lefts rather. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now let's take it out a little further. The dot presents a problem. Actually, the dot is the easiest one. It's that all the thought process, you know, you're going all over the place, you're getting confused. Now, again, the math. 4/4 has 8 eighth notes. Okay, so let's establish the 8 eighth notes, or 16 16th notes, or 4 quarter notes, 2 half notes, or 1 whole note. So the rule for a dot is if you place a dot after a note, it's going to add to the value. So therefore, it's going to increase the value of that particular note. By what? By 1/2 its original value. So if I take a quarter note, that equals 2 eighth notes. So I have 1 and. Now if I have, if I played that as a dotted quarter note, well, I'm going to add the value of 1/2 the original value. So if I played that dotted quarter note, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The dot placed after a note increases the value by 1/2 the original value. Now another way you want to feel it, let's say you play eighth notes just with the right and left hand, and play that with the bass drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You get it, Bob? It's a little clearer? If that's confusing you, let's go to line 4. Maybe this will bring it out to you a little bit more. Line 4, you have the first, we're going to go to the right, the second measure on line 4, on the right hand side. Okay, so now, we have a quarter note. That equals how many sixteenths, Bob? Quarter note equals how many sixteenths? Please, nobody else reply except Bob. I would appreciate that. So now we have the quarter note. I mean, line 4, a quarter note. How many sixteenths equals a quarter note? Right. Okay, so you have 4. So you look at line number 4. It's a quarter note. So I have 1, E, and the. So I played the first note, which was the quarter note, but I extended, the value is 4 sixteenths. Now I hit 2, E, and the. So now I just established 2 quarter notes equals 4 sixteenths. Now I have a dotted eighth note. Remember the rule. A dot placed after the note increases the value of that note by 1/2 the original value. So if I have an eighth note, that equals 2. I mean, an eighth note, a quarter note, that equals, all right. If I have an eighth number, that equals how many sixteenths, Bob? An eighth note equals how many sixteenths? No calculator either. So let me do line 4. I'm going to do the first 2 quarter notes. And when I get a response from you, is the eighth note equals how many sixteenths? Just give me a response. Alright? Line 4, the first 2 quarter notes. I'm counting sixteenths. 1, E, and the. 2, E, and the. So I just established, that's it, 2. So now, the eighth note equals 2 sixteenths. Now I have a dotted eighth note. Here comes the rule again. A dot placed after a note increases the value by 1/2 the original value. The original value of a eighth note is 2 sixteenths. Now I have a dotted eighth note, so it's going to equal more than 2 sixteenths. How many? 1/2 of that. It's going to add to it. So the dotted eighth note equals 3 sixteenths. So now I'm going to hit the third downbeat, 3, E, and the, which is going to give me 3, E, and the, and then 4. 4, E, and the. So now, if you want to proofread that, go over to the left-hand side of the page, to the left-hand side of line 4, and just play the sticking, 1, E, and the, 2, E, 3, E, and the, 4, E, and the, 1. Now you really want to do it, eliminate the lefts, and you're going to get 1, E, and the, 2, E, and the, 3, E, and the, 4, E, and the. Understand that a little bit better? Have a little fun with that. Play that line one time through, all the rights or whatever's written with your right hand on the floor tom-tom against 16th notes on the snare. Does that help you out somewhat, Bob? Any questions on, anybody else have any questions on the dotted eighth note? I'm not going to get into the dotted 16th note. First you got it, all right? There you go. You have some fun with this. You know, reading, you know, in the beginning, when you open up the book, man, it's pretty shallow. What am I learning this for? I want to hear goom, or I want to play like John Bottom. I want to do stuff like Buddy Rich or Joe Morello or Max Roach. Yeah, well, sure, you can, but you have to understand how to read. You're welcome, Bob. You have to understand how to read to continue. You're strengthening your understanding of rhythm, how it is in 4/4. The rules do not change. The notation will change. But if you add up each measure of the reading, you have, let me just give you an example. On line 4, you have the first quarter note equals 4/16. The second quarter note equals 4/16. That's a total of 8/16. Then I go to the third downbeat. A dotted eighth note equals 3/16 plus the 16th itself equals 4/16 twice. That equals a total of 16 16th notes. If you come up with 17 16th notes, or 15 16ths, you ain't right. Mathematically, it will all add up. If you reduce the 16 16ths, it will equal 4/4. You reduce the 4/4 to its lowest denominator. You understand the methodology here and how to proofread it? It's not difficult. There's a book. It's out of publication. I always mention this book. And the author is deceased. But his son, he's a drummer as well. And they were originally from Long Island. And the author was Ralph C. Pace. And he moved to Florida. Like I said, he's deceased. But his son is alive. His son was here a few times. And we talked about redoing the book. We could not negotiate pricing or whatever. However, that's Ralph C. Pace Jr. I believe he got in touch with Rob Wallace from Hudson Music, and they're going to put it available digital, as they're going to do my books as well. The stick control book formulas, the Joe Morello breakdown with the levels, and my syncopation book, and my reading books. They're all going to be digital, and they still will be available in hardcover only on my site. Okay, so far, do we have any questions on the reading? Because I don't want to make this, boring as all hell. I want to make it a little fun and being creative with it. Now, I could drive you guys crazy, but I don't want to do that. It's productive. That's not productive being crazy. What I'm going to do now is take that, say the line 1, and play eighth notes on a snare. One hand. Okay, and I want to play what's there with my right hand. Might get you a little confused, and maybe it's premature, but there's the long note and the short note. The long note would be a quarter note. The short note would be the eighth note. See, let's not go there, I'm sorry. What you're doing is you want to have a little fun with this. So you want to be cool, you want to develop some coordination and musicality, because eventually what you're going to do, you're not going to count this. You're going to hum it. That's going to take you right into the New Breed. Okay? It's a great journey, man. The New Breed is a very difficult book, and I think that my approach, whether people agree with it or not, which I don't care, is pretty insightful and productive and fun. You practice, it's hard work, but you also can make it fun. Like we just did the eighth notes. I can play it one time with my right hand, one time with my bass drum. When I'm playing on the floor tom-tom, my bass drum is on 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it gives you a little bit more control, because now you're controlling your right hand. You're controlling your bass drum. You're playing against your left hand. By playing against your left hand, you're making your left hand stronger. Another additional way is just to play alternate strokes. You play the bass drum part. 1, 2, 3. Got it? Or do 16ths on the bottom as alternate strokes and play the line as accents. So it takes the element of being bored out of learning how to read. I believe it's a good approach. It's a fun approach, which is really important, and it's productive. What is your take on this, guys? Let me hear some comments here. How about you, Adam? What do you think? Because we're going to do 4 of the systems. We're going to do 4 of the systems with that one particular pattern. That's the 4 systems I gave you. Alternating strokes on the hi-hat. And playing the line down with the bass drum. Like this. I want to play the line. The musical line is actually the melody line with the right foot. Now do it 1,000 times, you're going to come up with this. That goes into the humming. Now that's just one of the systems. And now you're strengthening the right hand lead. And the stick control book takes you there. The left hand lead now. Playing the line down with the bass drum. 2, 3, 4. 1 again. So 2 ways there. The third way is straight 16ths. Now when I play straight 16ths on the hi-hat, I'm actually pushing the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. I'm going to play the line down with the bass drum. See that? It works. And you have a lot of fun. And you take it to another level because now what you're doing is developing coordination. You're commanding that right hand or left hand to do something against the melody line. And that's the intro and the developmental process of the New Breed. The New Breed is a very difficult book, but man, it's a great book, without a doubt. Some of the greats studied with Gary Chester, Dave Weckl, Danny Gottlieb, and a few of my friends. Now I don't know if they took this approach or not, but this is my concept, my approach, and I have no problems with this. It seems to be fine with the students. Now we're going to continue the reading come 1 p.m. Okay? 1 p.m. On YouTube tomorrow. Now I can't, do 3 pages in an hour, but we'll work with them. We'll have a lot of fun with them. And we're going to start journeying off into the triplets, the 8th note triplets, the 16th note triplets, the dotted 16ths. How many here could play a dotted 16th? Hello, how are you, sir? Kasoko? Is that who? I can't pronounce your name, I apologize. Like I mentioned before, I am going to be doing some Zoom lessons, master classes, 5 to 15 people on reading and the stick control book. Of course it helps, Bob. Absolutely. It really, what you got to do is zone in and focus. You're doing what I feel. See, the Gary Shafee book, you think you can play. It's either you could or you can't. Let me demonstrate. Remember the halftime shuffle? And this is where I have a lot of arguments. You know, when Jeff Beccaro was playing the Rosanna, his bass drum pattern was the Bo Diddley pattern. Okay, that was the bass drum part. Now, and you really can't play, I don't think, the eighth note triplet like this. And play that part. So that's where I come in with the dotted 16ths. 1 and the 2 and. So instead of me going dotted eighth note, 1 the and the 2 the and the 3, I'm going 1 the and the 2 the and the 3 the and the 4 the and. You see that, Paul? But you see that? Dotted 16. Now it's whether you can play them or understand them. You could hear them, which is a gift to a lot of people. You see it, Paul? Robert, Joyce, Adam, and whoever may be listening to it. I'm going to continue on the reading tomorrow afternoon on YouTube, which that will be recorded on this camera. This is being recorded on another camera right now. I am uploading it to YouTube. Now, if anybody would like to have the 3 sheets that I will be teaching from, probably almost the remainder of the week, please email me. I will send them to you. In addition to that, okay, what I will do is add you to my mailing list. When I add you to my mailing list, either Sunday or Monday, you get the week's agenda and the location of where I'm at. Okay, how many people would be interested in doing a Zoom lesson? A master class. Only 5 to 15 people allowed. Maybe I'll go 20, I don't know. I'm getting used to using Zoom. I have to really, walk myself around it, see what I can do with it. How many people would be interested in that? Say a $5 session for an hour and a half, 2 hours. 10 people, 15 people. What do you think? Adam, did I help you out somewhat? Okay. I want to see where that goes, Paul. I have all this thing. I have the YouTube, I have Facebook, I have my site, and then Zoom will be separate, because Zoom, I can see you. You have your drum pad, and we can talk about it. It gives me a better insight of what I'm dealing with. Well, don't kick yourself, Paul, because he had to cancel the last minute. That's not a problem. It's rescheduled, and you'll get notification for December the 6th. It's Sunday at 3 p.m. Absolutely. We can talk. I try to talk. It's so hard with a delay and to talk. I forget what I asked you. You responded to what I asked 5 seconds ago, and I just put something else out there. Okay? So, I want to do some more if you guys don't mind. I think enough for the reading. It gives me not a headache, but, there's so much I can talk about, so much I can do. What else would you like to work on a little bit besides jazz, Paul? Now, when Jason does a clinic, Paul, we use a whiteboard. He'll write something out and explain it to you, and then play it. I told him, I said, I could put it on my site, He doesn't want to do that. But that's okay. So what would you guys want to say revisit for the next 10, 15 minutes? Then probably it's going to be longer than I start getting into it. Any suggestions? You like the Chester stuff, so do I. So does everybody else. I'm trying to get my cable hat up because it makes life a lot easier. You know, this old age shit sucks. You know, moving around this way, moving around that way. I'm trying to make it as simple and as productive as I possibly can. You know, I keep mentioning when I listen to these other online teachers, when they say they don't teach their students how to count, that's ridiculous. Yeah, we can do that, Paul. Okay, I just put that book together, as a matter of fact, 1 through 48, and it'll be on, Hudson Music in a couple weeks, digital. So will my stick control book formulas be digital. The hardcover and the PDFs will still be available. Okay, we'll do that. And that'll help Adam. That's where the levels are really, really good. We all had, Adam, do you have Joe Morello's Master Studies? All right, well, we'll do that. Do you have a drum set, Adam? Actually, you know what my first drum set was? I never really told anybody this. I made my own first drum set. Anybody remember the ceiling tiles they used to staple up on the ceiling? Used to come in a box. Well, I put them together as a floor tom-tom, a snare drum, and a small tom, and I used my foot for the bass drum and my left foot for the hi-hat, but I didn't have them, okay? And it was fun. It lasted me about a week because I put holes in them from using it so often. All right. All right, maybe I can help you out, Adam. Email me, we'll talk a little bit, okay? All right, let's talk about, let's do the first one again. I don't have the book in front of me. It's hard for me to remember all these things in the order they come in. It's just a lot. So I'm going to take the first line of Joe Morello's Master Studies, and I'm going to play it as he has it written. But I'm going to down it a little bit. When I say down, I'm going to back it up a little bit. He has it presented in eighth, like this. And he presents it in eighth notes. What I do, and I said this before, you know, I get guys in all these drumming groups, and they're trying to profile how fast they can play, which I think is totally off the wall. So what they do is they'll do single strokes, they'll do alternating strokes with their bass drum at 250 or 350, which is fast, and that takes a lot of work. Okay, and I asked them, I said, well, now can you do it at 35 or 40? They can't. So that tells me what they lack. What do they lack, guys, if they can't do it slow? Okay, Mr. Joe Morello. First line. He presents it in eighth notes. I rather present it in quarter notes. You know, for somebody who does not understand the level system or control strokes, when you do it slow and you do it in quarter notes, if you make a mistake with this book, with the levels, it comes out of the book and smacks you. So, let's look at the first guy. I'm going to take, it's a 2-measure increment in eighth notes, therefore it's going to be, that's right, Bob, it's going to be 4 measures in quarter notes. So I'm going to take the first 4 quarter notes. The first measure of the four quarter notes, I have a right hand accent a left-hand accent, and 2 left-hand strokes. Alright, so my starting position would have to be like this. So I can get the down stroke to hit the right. But now with my left, I have to have a free stroke. Why? Because my up and coming next accent's from the left. So I'm going to do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second half. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm back. Now that gives me the option to start on the other side. That's quarter notes. You want to do it in eighth notes. I wouldn't suggest doing it in eighth notes until you get the quarter note flowing. No tension, no hesitation, and get it in with the metronome. So now, you want to do it in eighth note. So I'm thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and notice how my right hand and my left hand accents sound the same, and all other notes sound the same from the point that I'm playing. Okay, so I take it in quarter notes, eighth notes, now we go to 16ths. I'm going to do one more, I'm going to stop. I'm tired. Fill-ins. What does he mean by fill-ins? I'm going to play the first right and left, but this time I'm down. So now I have a line of rights. I'm going to fill in as 16ths, like this. 1 and 2 E-M, 3 E-M, E-M. That's it. I'm going to be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. on YouTube. Adam, I'll give you all the information if you email me, okay? Even if you want to talk on a phone, I'll give you my phone number, or I'll call you either way. Or if you want to get on Zoom or Skype, we'll do that. All right, I just hope I helped a little bit tonight. If I did, that makes me feel really good. So guys, and Robert, you're right on that, man. You commanded that word, control. Without control, man, nothing happens. Well, I appreciate you wanting to learn and accepting my knowledge to help you. Okay, guys, we'll see everybody tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. on YouTube. Have a good rest of the night. And I got to upload this to YouTube, so it will be available. If you want to see my videos, subscribe to my channel. Okay? Have a good rest of the night.